Well, this is just a refilming of my naturalism blog, because the one from my phone wouldn't upload, so I'm just going to refilm them on my laptop, which should hopefully upload properly. Okay, so this is my second blog. We started off the session. We went into Chesterfield Town Centre, and we went to observe people and watch people who might look like our characters or have the same roughly the same mindset, or people that reminded us of our characters, so we could pick up little idiosyncrasies that they may have and possibly apply them to our character if it fits. So I went off with Lee, and we did. We went and found some people. We didn't go up and speak to them, but we didn't follow them around town, but we saw them a couple of times, and we watched how they acted and watched how they walked and spoke to people and how they held themselves and stuff. And there was one particular interesting guy who, funnily enough, he looked like I would picture my character to be, and he was really quiet and quite geeky, and really just not confident or anything like that. So I watched him, and it was quite interesting to see how he held himself, and how he basically give off this feeling that he was quite an uncomfortable person, which is really very similar to my character. So I used that put that into my character. Only little bits and bobs, like having looking around quite a bit, and not making complete eye contact while speaking and stuff like that, which I think really adds this sense of uncomfortable, like a sense of a feeling of uncomfortableness. It was quite useful, because it gives us a bit of a different perspective on how our characters should be, rather than just making up one in your head and then hoping it works. It's quite good to take from real experiences and real people, because you'll get a more believable character rather than just a 2D character. If you start building layers of it and making it like a 3D character instead, which is really good. Once we'd done that, we went back and we just went to rehearse. Now, me and Ellie, we just wanted to make sure that we nailed the lines more than anything, because there's not that much movement in the piece at all. So we just wanted to nail lines, because the lines and the delivery of lines and the intent behind the lines is the most important thing in this whole play, rather than the physical movements and props and all that sort of stuff. That's not really that important in this. So we were going through the scripts and picking out scenes that we thought would be a little bit easier to learn, so we could get the easier ones out of the way, and just try and really push ourselves to get these lines sorted. So we went over a few things, and then once we'd read through it, I think about twice, we basically we started lightly blocking a little bit of the later scenes. Nothing too intense at the minute, because we wanted to build up, once we've got our characters, we felt like we wanted to get our characters right first before trying any of the scenes that involve a lot of characterization and a lot of thought process. So we'd start from the bottom and build layers and layers on top. We did I think one of the hardest parts, and I've spoken a lot about this, is how it's acting, but for my character personally, is acting, but it's not actually acting. As in, I don't have to. I think Ellie has about 80% of the lines, and she's talking at me a lot. So I've got to kind of just sit there and take it a lot of the time, and sorry. And I found it really difficult just to sit there without having a prop to use, or without being able to get up and walk around, or go and tidy the bedroom or something like that. I have to just sit there and take it, and it's really quite difficult to just sit there and do nothing, because there's nothing to do. So it doesn't feel like I can bring any character out of it, which is a big obstacle I'm going to have to cross. But I'll try and get it. I did try and get a lot better at bringing something that wasn't actually in the script, and bringing it to make it a bit more interesting to watch and interesting to perform. And then we did then we basically we moved on to one of the later scenes after we'd done Ellie's monologues, and looked at how I could do my outburst scene when it all comes together at the end. Not focusing too much on character, but just thinking of ways I could do it without it being too little or too big. Like, we don't want it too little because it's a massive outburst of emotion that's been building up over years and years and years, but we didn't want it too big because we didn't want it to just be we didn't want it to look fake, and we wanted it to feel real, you know. So we went over them little bits, and I didn't really put that much emotion into it. I tried to keep it quite subtle at first to see how it worked, and Ellie liked it, and I think it was a very good basic skeleton for that scene that we could definitely build on. It was nowhere near good enough, like what we wanted it to be, without proper characterization. But it's something we're really going to have to work on, because it's a very, very difficult piece. I think it's actually one of the most difficult plays I've ever had to do, in the strangest way, because it's so simple. And it was it's a very hard, very, very hard thing to do. Like, you wouldn't imagine just sitting there is difficult, but it really is, because you don't want to look like yourself. You want to be encapsulate another person. But I think overall we're working quite well. We have had quite a few doubts about this piece, because the cringy scenes are so cringy, and it's quite painful to watch and to perform. And I'm trying to, because I genuinely feel quite awkward doing it, but I'm trying to make it so that that's part of my character, and it's just getting that right balance where I don't feel I want it to be, I don't feel awkward, but the character looks awkward. I don't want to actually feel awkward, because it might play with me a little bit, and I don't want that happening. And that is about it for this blog, really.